Good morning, my friends. Grim here. I hope you're very well today. And by popular demand, by order of the community, we are playing some White Weenie today in Premodern. We voted. Nearly 100 votes came in between YouTube and Discord at the time of this recording, and White Weenie beat out Storm and Mono Green Stompy. Fear not, I plan to play both of those at some point on the channel, but today is for the weenies. We are going to go line by line through a quick deck tech before we get into some games. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to anybody supporting this content in any way, shape, or form. And just a couple quick caveats before we do the line by line thing. Number one, I'm far from an expert. I've just gotten in a few warm-up games, and that is it. And number two, White Weenie is very, very far from solved. You've got all kinds of interesting different cards you can reach for if you want to play this type of strategy. And indeed, the overall structure varies pretty widely from deck to deck, from what I have seen. But that said, this is a copy-pasta job. I think I just kind of swapped out one of these sideboard Tormod's Crypts for another copy of Phyrexian Furnace. Other than that, we took this list from a recent player who did quite well with it. So let's talk about what we're playing before we get into some games. 22 lands, my friends, 20 of which are a basic plains. We've got a lot of Tempest cards in the 75, therefore we've opted for a beautiful atmospheric Tempest basic land. Absolutely love that one from Therese Nielsen. And 2 copies of Wasteland, mainly to make the opponent stumble while you're aggroing them out, or indeed, more frequently, to just simply deal with a Mishra's Factory. We've got 4 copies of Plow, pretty much as mandatory as a card can get when you're playing that color in Premodern, and 4 copies each of Savannah Lions and Deftblade Elite. They make up the first responders. These are our turn 1 plays. They're going to just start aggroing out the opponent. Deftblade Elite can engineer unwelcome trades with a Mana Dork, for example, or in the latter stages of the game can help distract by provoking the biggest and best blocker while your more relevant attackers get through. We do also have an Enlightened Tutor package. I'm going to talk about that after we finish talking about all the creatures. We'll come back to that at the end. So moving on to the 2-drop slot, 4 copies of Silver Knight, 2/2 First Strike Pro Red, 4 copies of Soltari Priest, another Pro Red, but this one, of course, Soltari has Shadow, and then 3 copies of Soltari Monk. Same energy as the Priest, but pro-black rather than pro-red. So we are very, very hateful in terms of the color exclusions that we're bringing to bear. Rounding out those types of effects, we have 1 each of Paladin on Vec, 2/2 First Strike, pro-black, pro-red for 3, and Mystic Crusader. Same thing, except a little smaller, but with a threshold ability that gives it a buff and flying. Speaking of flying at the top end, we have 4 of another white perennial in the format, Exalted Angel. This, of course, is going to break parity in a major way. In any kind of a mirror match, in any kind of a interactive match, you're going to theoretically strain their removal early on, and then Exalted Angel is lights out after the dust settles. Of course, it can be played for Morph to supplement a go-wide plan or to simply break up the casting cost across multiple turns. We have a single copy of Worship that can steal plenty of game 1s, we hope, and that leads us back to that Enlightened Tutor package. There's a 2 of Enlightened Tutor in the main deck, which can find Worship, it can find one of our 2 copies of Seal of Cleansing, it can find one of our 2 copies of Curse Scroll, it can find a singleton main deck Phyrexian Furnace. We also have a single Disenchant supplementing all of those effects. So 3 main deck Disenchant effects. They're also functionally 5 copies of these because they are tutorable. I think that's really, really powerful in the fact that this deck does operate on multiple dimensions. We go wide with aggressive bodies. We do have interaction with Plow and the Disenchant effects, and we can tutor up our scrolls, tutor up our furnaces. We can steal the game with Worship. We can steal the game with protection from black or from red. There's lots of ways to get there, even in game 1. Post-side Enlightened Tutor can put in even more work for us because we've got a Crypt to reach for, 2 more Phyrexian Furnaces, a Cursed Totem, 1 copy each as well of Warmth, Serenity, and a 3rd Seal of Cleansing. That is a lot of enchantments and artifacts, but when you're mono-white, I suppose that is to be expected. Beyond that, we have a second copy of Mystic Crusader. We have 2 copies of a card I absolutely love, Soltari Visionary, a 3-drop 2/2 with Shadow. When it deals damage to a player, destroy target enchantment that player controls. Love the art, love the effect. This one is hopefully going to be an all-star for us. And then we've got some really interesting spells, non-creature spells, rounding out the sideboard. 2 copies of the old kitchen table standby Reprisal. 2 mana white instant, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. It cannot be regenerated. And 3 copies of Armageddon, giving this deck yet another axis on which it can attack. Obviously, the plan here would be against mid-range control decks. Any other deck that you think is really land drop dependent, we go wide early. We interact a little bit, and then we wipe out the lands, and we ride our surviving creatures to victory. So there we go, guys. We managed to get all of this in under budget, old bordered, beautiful stuff. Let's have some fun. Let's play some games. All right, friends, we are looking at a balanced, 5-spell 2-land hand, nice and aggressively slanted on the play against an opponent that mulled 2/6. We've got Plow for interaction, Savannah Lions to lead the charge, and then triple Shadow from there. They will go Wooded Foothills, Mountain, Jackal Pup. Time for some burn. Time for some burn. So, we don't really care about plowing the pup. The trade is good for us if they decide to take it. And if not, we just have to be mana efficient. So even though, unfortunately, our pro-red, in this case, cannot block, so Silver Knight would have been really good there. Soltari Priest is still a good card in the matchup. I think we have to curve out optimally to have a chance here. I say have a chance. It doesn't mean that we have a bad matchup. In fact, we probably have a good matchup, but with the way that our hand is, we really can't just kind of like take a turn off of using all of our mana whenever possible, in my opinion. Savannah Lions eating an Incinerate is an incredible outcome. Deftblade Elite is a good one. Lava Man is a great plow target, actually. And if that's all the opponent's got this turn, then that might put them kind of far enough behind. Interesting. Yeah, I'll take this trade all day. I get why the opponent's doing it, though, because we can provoke the Lava Man if they don't. Alright, now the race is just well and truly on, so now we're just going to jam threats and try to get there. I think we've just about got them locked out of things like Sulfuric Vortex as well, not that they have the 3rd land anyway. Mog Fanatic is an underwhelming turn. It can trade with our Deftblade Elite, but another way to look at it is our Deftblade Elite can trade with a Mog Fanatic, right? That said, maybe we still play a Soltari Monk, again, just to be more mana efficient. I think that's fine. Because if we draw a 3rd land next turn, we can go either Paladin on Vec or Double Spell if the 3rd land is a Plains, and if we deem that to be better. Alright. We steal game 1 from Burn, feels good. Curse Totem's okay, maybe? Warmth is our best card. I don't think we're going to goof around with Armageddon or anything like that. we'll consider just various different threats. I don't know if we're supposed to cut all of our disenchant style effects, but I think doing so is actually totally fine here. I'll play a Curse Totem. I think that's kind of worth. I think it's kind of good. It's kind of okay. We want to keep the curve a bit lower. I'll leave the Enlightened Tutor package in. Maybe these pro-black 1 toughness shadow threats. The Soltari Monk is kind of the least exciting of our threats. And then we have perhaps brought in a few too many higher curve bodies, so at the risk of being a little too control-y, a little too slow and reactive, I think I'll play with all 3 Phyrexian Furnace, leave 1 Visionary on the bench. Seems alright. Are we missing anything? I don't think we are. I'm not experienced enough with Worship to know if that's something we should do to make them point more things at the board. Is that like a reasonable one of? Well, with a bunch of pro-red threats in the deck, maybe it is. Right? Maybe it is. So we'll do that, sure. And we'll cut the final Soltari Monk in order to accommodate it. Again, raising the curve, what can you do? I'm interested to know how you would side against Sly or Burn, whatever your preferred nomenclature is in this matchup. I think we're supposed to keep the double plow, double Savannah Lion, Silver Knight hand. I do think we are. We have a fail rate because our second land is a wasteland, and therefore we can't necessarily cast the amazing Silver Knight on curve. This is by no means an I win the game hand automatically either. It's just like quite good. Quite good, quite respectable. I'm not that excited about the Enlightened Tutor. Savannah Lions walls off the Jackal Pup. They don't have a second land either. Wow, nice. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't go Silver Knight here, but we can just go either Savannah Lions or Deathblade Elite. I don't think we're supposed to Enlighten Tutor. I should have probably attacked before playing Lions if I'm planning to attack, which I am, whatever. I think we hold Deathblade Elite because Lions is a better attacker if we keep adopting this aggressive posture, and because Elite down the road sticking around to provoke a Grim Lavamancer could be really good. Opponent finds a Mog Fanatic to deal with our blocker. So now they're trading back and forth with us, for now, with the pup. Whoa, green. Okay. Another Savannah Lions, sure. Yeah, would love to just play a Silver Knight. But we'll do the same thing we did last turn. Wasteland looking real bad right now. Oh, so bad compared to Plains, but this does not come up all that much in a 22-land deck with only 2 non-Plains lands. But if we do lose this game too, let it be known that it was strictly because of the Wasteland. With the opponent's progression relative to ours, I really don't see them beating us if we have a Silver Knight down and double spelling and all that. Sylvan Library, okay. Alright, there's our Plains just in time to not have our cake and eat it too, but we're still in a very good spot now. So I think we get to go plow the Lava Man. We're probably supposed to wasteland them off Karplusan Forest now as well. But we'll attack with both Savannah Lions first. Deft Blade Elite as a good enough blocker. Into the Wasteland, pass to you. The more aggressive line with the Lions, rather than leaving one back to make sure that even in the face of one removal spell, we have a Stonewall blocker for Jackal Pup, that makes Sylvan Library worse, right? So that's part of why we do it. They did draw a card, though, so they're down to 9. 8 with the fetch, okay. We would love to fade a sweeper of some kind, obviously. They find Call of the Herd. Yeah, that's a good one. It's definitely a really good one. And we have Exalted Angel. Yeah. Very good in the matchup, not very good in the spot, punishing us for using our Wasteland. Opponent down to 2 cards in hand, so do we just go Plow, Enlighten, Tutor? And force a trade with the pup. I think that's really good. And if they don't have a 4th land, then I suppose we go get Phyrexian Furnace to compete over Call of the Herd and to try to keep curving out. And if they do, then maybe we go get like a Curse Scroll, or we could just get Warmth. We know they may have a Naturalize or something like that rolled up. So we have many, many options here. But we've taken care of their whole board. They're down to 6. The card selection of Sylvan Library is irrelevant. The draw, unless they're feeling really froggy, the draw is no longer live. Of course, we're assuming that no further life gain will be involved unless we are plowing them again at some point. Kyrian Dryad. Whoa. Whoa. That's a cool one. So it's definitely more of a zoo build than anything else. Definitely more zoo-ish than the burn for which we initially mistook it, right? So against Kyrian Dryad, Warmth is a lot less exciting, but it's still probably incredibly good. Not going to get Worship, not going to get Curse Totem. So is it Furnace, Scroll? I don't think it can be Scroll with still only 2 lands, so... yeah, I'm going to go get Furnace. And we're going to test them for a free spell here. Hopefully they don't have, like, Fire Blast or something, although that would be good in its own way for us, right? Put them to 4. Alright, Furnace. Bottom card. Eat the Call of the Herd. Find a 3rd land, seems good. Silver Knight is definitely not the lights out that, it's funny because this is like the best card in the matchup we thought, but it's turn 7 and we haven't cast it yet, due to mostly lacking the second planes, right? But due to a wide variety of reasons, really, overall. Mog Fanatic's a nice find for them, though, make no mistake. Make no mistake. Alright, planes, yeah... So let's go for the morph. We give them 1 turn to find a removal for it. Otherwise, it's going to flip and pretty easily win the game. Library digging them deep. Tempting Worm. Oh, yeah. Love to see it. Alright. Well, it would have been funny if we got to put the Exalted Angel in off of that, wouldn't it? But we'll settle for the Silver Knight and them not having Bolt or Shock or Seal of Fire as their last card? Question mark? They're waiting to see what it is, eh? Okay. We'll show you. Exalted Angel, begin combat. Good game, well played. That was a nice performance from White Weenie. Alright, we are keeping a reactive 7 against a turn 1 Wirewood Symbiote. Okay. A really scary card out of Elves. Not the scariest turn 1 play, though. And we've got a triple plow hand now, having drawn the third for our first draw step. And Curse Scroll is going to be really good against this deck, too. So, Priest of Titania. Ooh, they're offering a trade? I've got to take that trade, right? I've got to take that against Elves, right? I think that's a great outcome for us. Mystic Crusader. Alright, so we're going to main phase a plow on the Priest. Their Cradle is now shut off. We'll get a... Not even sure we're supposed to get a Curse Scroll down, exposing it to, like, Nantuko Vigilante, but I think I'm just going to be mana efficient and do that this turn, because hopefully we draw Plains next turn for Mystic Crusader. Or a Wasteland might be fine as well. I mean, a Wasteland would be fine and might be live to fire off on Cradle. They're going to reset the forest. Now they have 2 mana for turn. Another Symbiote. And another Symbiote. Okay, I see why they were so aggressive with that first one. Gotcha. Gotcha. Alright, well... They have enormous amounts of redundancy against our removal, and they also have nothing that we really need to remove, do they? So, their attack makes, again, total sense now in retrospect. I'm just going to take, I think this is the safest turn we're going to have for the rest of the game to take a turn off to get a threat down. It's not a very good one, but it is what we have. And from here, we're going to try to empty the hand aggressively, go on the Curse Scroll plan. But it's a lot better to do that when you've got a body on the field. They're going to shove all in, huh? Again, I think we just take a trade here. It's not very mana efficient, but we are chewing through the board really well this way. In context with what we have to back it all up anyway. Needless to say, you know, one of our knights would be way better there. A first striker, a 2 toughness, whatever. But yeah, we won't complain. Alright, so if we... We could actually Enlighten Tutor main phase and then also main phase a guaranteed hit with Curse Scroll and just keep killing 2 things a turn from there on out. I don't think we really need to, though. So for this exact turn, we'll say go. And I don't know what we get with Enlightened Tutor, maybe just a backup scroll in case of a Naturalize effect. Alright, I'll do this before damage. We'll save the point of life, why not? And yeah, we'll just get the redundant scroll. This play must look a little bit weird to the opponent, but I believe it to be correct. It only really makes sense if we have double plow, so now they kind of know that, for all the good that does them. I mean, we've got so much of what we want to see. We've managed to turn our 2 creatures into removal spells as well. Again, their hand sent them with its layers and layers of redundancy, but without the real payoffs. They were incentivized to make those trades too. But obviously that's something in general we're pretty happy to do. Alright, we've got 2 scrolls down, 2 plows in hand. Deterministic scroll kill every turn from here on out. Alright, I'm going to play a Plains, and because now they've shown us a Llanowar Elves, we're going to main phase a scroll activation. Really don't know what the opponent can have to get out of this besides maybe a double naturalize effect, and then they still have to fight through our 2 plows. We'll take the 1, not a problem in this particular case, although we have tried to minimize that throughout the game so far. Okay, triple plow. Got it. Well, this game might go on for quite a while because we're just finding all of the reactive elements, but... yeah. If we were in paper, I'd probably show the opponent our hand, and we'd probably go to game 2. Well, we'll play out the Seal of Cleansing. That's actually really good. I was not thinking... I was not really thinking what happens should we find ourselves at the wrong end of a survival of the fittest, right? So now we have that covered too. There was a little scope to scroll the Acolyte with its trigger on the stack, so they can't play a 3-drop, but again, I don't really know what that would be that we care that much about. Okay, I'll take a proactive threat. Soltari Priest, go. This is quite the commanding display here in Game 1, needless to say. We've got basically everything we need, and the opponent has seen enough. Alright, Cursed Totem is good against Elves. No doubt about that. I think the Soltari Visionary should come in. I don't think it's an Armageddon matchup with all their dorks, even though we have a lot of ways to deal with them. I still don't think so. So there's not really all that much we want to do. I think we're totally fine to cut our only Phyrexian Furnace, and from there, we will just maybe cut a couple of shadow threats on the draw, like we'll cut 1 monk, or maybe 2 monks, because there is a very off chance that, like, the pro-red matters against Thornscape Battle Mage, or something similar. And with that in mind, maybe... No, we'll just keep the curve low. We'll keep it as is. Do we want more Serenities and Seals of Cleansing to beat Survival of the Fittest? I don't think we want Serenity, but maybe we'll take a 3rd Seal. There's an argument that we have too many of those effects, but we can just cut the final Soltari Monk and consider that to be pretty clean, pretty solid. Well, we gotta throw back a no-lander. Opponent will be joining us in the go-to-6 plan. I don't know if we can keep this, can we? I mean, it's just got, like, a few 2/2s. It does not do anything else. You know what? I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it because the Silver Knight as a 2/2 first striker, I think, is absolutely incredible against the Elves deck. And because I knew we had a curse scroll on the top. That's really why. Oh, that was just lucky. Maybe lucking our way out of a bad keep. But with the opponent mauling to 6, there's an argument that, like, if we go to 5, we can't beat their best 6s. They naturalize the scroll. Feels bad, man. And if they don't have one of their best 6s and they're just kind of on a go-wide plan without any overwhelming, like, value generation or explosive start, then the Silver Knight actually shuts them down really hard. For a while, anyway. Obviously, you hate to lose the scroll to a naturalize. So our hand is back to just being a bunch of 2/2s, but, you know, with the Knight as a good attacker or blocker, and some Shadow lined up. The other thing I was going to say in defense of this potentially sketchy keep is that we have such a high density of things that are good off the top that I'm kind of okay with, like, a lands and spells keep rather than going to 5. Kind of. Emphasis on the kind of, because, again, we kept a no in all creature plus land hand there. Nice little double draw off the Multani's Acolyte and Wirewood Symbiote combo. Alright, since we are now on the wrong side of that value loop, we have to be the aggressor with Silver Knight and then go into the Priest. Setting up next turn to... I guess optimally they would loop the Acolyte a little more. They would end the turn by tapping out for a Survival of the Fittest without an activation open, and then next turn we get to go Priest, Seal, attack, and the clock is going to be real from there on out. Okay, they're not presenting... what's it called? Not presenting Survival. One mana floating 4 in a hand. Their untaps will be really good next turn, even if it's just for Llanowar Elves, but they're not doing much right now. Sadly, we've just got another land off the top, huh? Alright, with their board, I think we're attacking with both here. How I wish we had another piece of interaction, or an Exalted Angel, or even a Disenchant would feel better here than, like, Seal of Cleansing. I think it's correct to hold the Seal, though. I don't think we expose it, because with their sequencing, they could very easily It would make a lot of sense if they were sitting on another Naturalize or an MTGO Vigilante. So this will be probably a big turn for them. I'm wincing a bit in anticipation of what they could do. Elves, as always, are a strong deck. They're really cool. They really make you have it. I will be playing them on the channel, you can be sure, at some point. The Hermit. Okay, that is a good one. Now tapping the Cradle for 8. Concordant Crossroads, dude, that is awesome. Into Miltani's Acolyte. Oof. And here is our Seal of Cleansing, chilling in hand. As mentioned, I think playing around Naturalize or Nantuko Vigilante and hoping they didn't have a go-off turn is fine there, but they sure did. And to be clear, we would be in quite a bit of trouble even without them hasting here. But yeah, that's a cool one. So what is our life total? Is it positive? It is. We're at 5. Okay. And it's just a plains off the top. So we flooded pretty badly after a mulligan to 6 with a bit of a sketchy keep. I don't think we want anything different, though. On the play, maybe we could take a little bit more of an aggressive posture, but Curse Totem, Curse Scroll, Plows, Enlightened Tutor package, like, all of this is just good. So, submit. I think play draw matters a fair amount here. Like a Deftbleed Elite start is really good as well if we have access to that. Alright, let's see. We don't have Deftblade Elite, but we do have Soltari Visionary and Seal of Cleansing, and we just have the beatdown plan with Shadow into Exalted Angel, while being able to answer like Seals of Cleansing and stuff. I think we are just barely keeping this. I think we would have to mull if we were on the draw. And again, even so, like, should we be mulling a little more aggressively than this for like Plow and Scroll, cards like that? I don't know. I don't think we have quite high enough a density to justify that. I think with White Weenie, you are, again, just about supposed to keep a hand like this. Silver Knight. I think I like that better than Soltari Priest here. Llanowar Elves. Guy's Cradle. Access to 3 mana. Still to 3 mana after they make another Lanny Elf. What'll it be? What'll it be? Snaring Bridge. Okay. Very interesting tech. Don't think I particularly care. Fascinating turn. Okay. So we have a free roll to play Seal of Cleansing because we know it has a valid target. I'm not sure we really need to, though. Hmm. Hmm. Alright. We're sending it with the Silver Knight. And we are actually going to play an Exalted Angel Morphed. Right? Wrong. Man, there are so many different ways you could play this turn. It was a really interesting spot. I'm going to go with Soltari Visionary, my boy. Love this card. Right now it's just a shadow threat, but this is going to lock a lot of cards, I think, in their hand, or make them, like, play them for kind of a one-turn only thing. Now, the other component here, though, is that they may think they can sequence in such a way that our attacks, and therefore the Visionary trigger, are locked out by Ensnaring Bridge. And obviously, with our Seal of Cleansing in the back pocket, that's going to give them a little bit of a nasty surprise. So they get to crack back for more than we got in for, but they're hanging back. Okay. We've got another Disenchant. That's great. So we're going to plow the Priest, disenchant the Ensnaring Bridge, and get in with at least one. Alright, so Priest has been dealt with, Bridge has been dealt with. We've got a backup Disenchant. We've got Exalted Angel that we can morph out next turn. They found Multani's Acolyte, which seems like the draw for turn. That could be a really good find. Acolyte into Ranger, Silver Knight holding off the attacks. Another Plow, you love to see that as a backup. Absolutely love to see that one as a backup. I have to put Soltari Visionary on the thumbnail, don't I? What a cool card. So, notably, we still don't have the 4th land ready to roll for Exalted Angel, but it's just yet another headache for the opponent here. Makes the draw of a land actively good. So one of the most frightening cards would be Wirewood Symbiote, just able to loop the Acolyte here. They've got Priest of Titania. I don't care that much anymore. I did plow the first one kind of on site, but... Ooh, Deathblade Elite. Yeah, no land is rough. But Deathblade Elite could be really good. It might be time... See, I haven't even really been thinking about using the Wasteland here. I still don't think I do, because we just need that 4th land so badly. And they have all these mana dorks. But, like, Wasteland the Cradle, Plow the Priest is a thing, but Yeah, let's go. Just go Deathblade Elite, hold up the Plow. And we're going to try to compete over, like, a value loop, like the aforementioned Acolyte Symbiote nonsense. I don't know what punishes us for not plowing the Priest main phase. Maybe like Kamal Fist of Kroza. Okay, I'm gonna do nothing. Alright, there's the land. So now we can attack with Visionary, Flipped Angel, and Deftblade Elite provoking the Priest. Silver Knight remains an amazing blocker. This is enough value to make us risk going shields down for a turn and not holding up the plow. Because again, if they have something like Kamal, it's unclear how much the plow matters when they can activate at instant speed so many times. Alright, opponent is not quite dead on board, but is getting pretty darn close to being that way. And again, now that we've done our Angel Flip, we have... If we can just not die this turn, we can untap and hold up some really good effects. Deranged Hermit, yep. Is the final card another Concordant Crossroads? And if so, that is still not enough. Alright. So now that we've drawn another land, and now that we've flipped the Angel, I think we are going to Wasteland Gaia's Cradle. We'll attack first. Okay, that is the match. Alright, we get there against Elves. Definitely had that one on the edge a little bit, but that was a fun one. That was a really, really fun one. Okay, we're going to begin by keeping a risky one-lander. It is risky insofar as keeping a one-lander in basically any deck is risky. It is not risky insofar as we are on the play with an aggressive slanted hand and 5 1-drops plus a 2-drop. So we have all kinds of game here, and we're against basic Island Pass. So we could get dazed here. That would be pretty bad. But we might also have quite a bit of pressure with double Savannah line against an island deck on the play. We'll see. We do find our second land, which is great. So we'll play it. We're going to get in for 4 here. Opponent with a full grip, of course, having not mulliganed. And I think here we want to go Curse Scroll into Deftblade Elite. Opponent floating. Then it resolves. Okay. Yeah, we'll still go Deftblade Elite. I wasn't sure if that was a counterspell they thought better of, but it's just an AK. Alright. Basic Island Pass. Alright, we've got Plains. We'll take it. We definitely want to keep pressuring as fast as possible, emptying our hand. Been playing a lot of Curse Scroll decks lately, and I keep saying we have the incentive to empty our hand with a Curse Scroll, but it's true. But it's true. We'll play Sultari Priest. I don't think it matters between Priest and Monk. We have no way of telling whether or not they're splashing red or black, if indeed they're splashing anything at all. This seems more like Dreadnought or something like that to me, though, but who could say? It's not like Opt-in Accumulated Knowledge are rare cards in Premodern. But a couple AKs is definitely scary, so now they've got 9 cards in hand, they make the 4th land drop, and what can they do? Well, okay, so far nothing. Alrighty. They have to go to discard to hand size. And I've got to imagine if this was Dreadnought, they've got another draw spell and they're looking to dig deep. They pitch a Force Spike. Got it. Huh. Alright, well, we're going to put them to 2 here if we connect. They could be on... I think they might have main phased a Chain of Vapor if they had that, so I'm not even expecting that. I don't think there's a reason to play Soltari Monk. I think we just hold up Swords to Plowshares, and we can potentially consider plowing one of our own threats and then scrolling them for lethal. But we don't even have to. The White Weenies are just too strong. Alright, we did it. We don't really know what we're up against. Mono blue control is kind of like the vibe. But I think... So I think Phyrexian Furnaces are the only thing I might bring in here. I don't really want to go too soft to creatures without knowing more. I think the Worship should stay in. I guess I will cut a couple plows, and if we are against, like, Dreadnought, we still have at least a couple plows and Seals of Cleansing and stuff, but couple things there. You know, Force Spike is not the most common Dreadnought card of all time, is it? So we will just, or you know what, maybe we can cut, like, a Paladin on Vec. Respect their possibilities a little bit more. But we do want to stay threat dense because that was clearly good enough that time, and when you're not sure, you stay proactive, right? Okay, this hand is pretty slow and clunky, and it's got 3 pro-red threats, which we don't think that line of text is relevant, but hey, Savannah Lions off the top never didn't have a curve out. Never didn't have it. And we'll see, I'm sure, a little bit more of what they're up to this time. Okay, Yavimaya Coast. Okay, so Madness or something similar. One must expect, and they just got kind of unlucky without finding a green land last game, I suppose. Alright, well, we're playing right into a Daze or indeed a Force Spike, but I think we have to go for it. We'll play Silver Knight, and we're going to try to prioritize our shadow threats in terms of what we're going to resolve. Okay, they will opt to the top, but then Silver Knight resolves, so they're not really all that worried about it, probably. Makes sense. Okay, damage is getting through. We'll just try another shadow threat. Okay, that resolves too. I wonder what the opponent is sitting on. They're playing very quickly. They're playing, you know, it doesn't. I'm getting the vibe of an experienced player over there. So I don't think they just kept a nothing hand. We might be in for a little bit of a nasty surprise here. What's 4 mana? Well, they float 4 and then they gush. Okay. Spontaneous Generation. Create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token for each card in your hand. Okay, that card's really good against us. 8 Saprolings. Message received. Message received loud and clear. Oh boy. Alright, they go to cleanup, losing an island. Well, I think we're supposed to just kind of play 2 shadow threats here and try to race them that way. Sit behind our Silver Knight and our Savannah Lions. They don't have Days Up because they bounce their islands with Gush. That is hilarious, dude. Yeah, so if we get in here, we put them to 12. That puts them dead in 2 more swings to our triple shadow threats, and therefore we want to just block as well as we can. Waiting for... oh, they don't attack! Well, I guess the blocks are even better than expected, huh? We draw Exalted Angel, which is possibly going to be good. It might be really good, it might just get countered, it might also not really matter. I don't know if an opponent has a way to kill us like some other combo with non-combat damage. Alright, well, they're dead on board. So I guess we're gonna morph out an Exalted Angel. They go to 5 for a counterspell, tapping Yavimaya Coast, okay. I'll play out of Savannah Lions, I guess. This could get dazed. I don't think I care. It doesn't. Alright. Well, their primary problem is still there with the shadow threats. Can they beat them? Is there going to be some kind of like return all creatures to their hand type of effect? Obviously, that would be pretty bad with the Saproling tokens. Again, do they have a way? Opposition. Whoa, okay. I was going to say, do they have another way to beat us with these tokens without doing combat damage? And there it is. It's opposition. Okay. So they can keep our shadow threats tapped down in perpetuity. Except, bad news for them, we have a Seal of Cleansing in hand. So on this one turn, they're going to get to stave off the shadow threats. Or they could maybe tap all of our lands down if they want to get aggressive. But we have such a wide board that they kind of have to, I think, let us have some lands here. We'll see. We'll see how aggressive they get. Opposition. That makes a lot of sense here. Once again, they don't have it. They're not representing a daze, so even if they tap Lions and then 2 lands, we'll be able to cast Seal of Cleansing. If they tap the 3rd land, we'll need to draw a land in order to get there. Don't tap it. Don't tap the 3rd land. You don't want to. I don't know what they tapped with that last one. Anyway, Seal of Cleansing seems good. No foil? No foil. Alright. Hit the opposition. And that's the game. White Weenie. Wow. That was pretty cool. Alright, guys. Opponent on the play his mulligan down to 6 and leading on Basic Forest into Birds of Paradise. We have kept a balanced 7. I don't think we plow the bird. I think we play Deftblade Elite. And next turn we can force the bird to block us, which is incredibly good. Treetop Village into Wall of Blossoms. Alright, those are some good cards against us. But again, we get a free kill on the bop, which is real nice. So how does Provoke work? You may have target creature defending player controls untap and block it if able. Alright, let's begin there. Provoke trigger, target bird. Use Deftblade Elite's ability. Yes. Go to blocks. Illegal blocking. Birds of Paradise must block Deftblade Elite. That's a funny message. Okay. So combat damage, we're gonna assign 1 to the bird. Boom. Alright. Very nice indeed. So we can go Curse Scroll and hold up Silver Knight, or hold up Plow, but I think I'm gonna just play Silver Knight here. Take a proactive stance and see what the opponent's up to. So far, they're not showing us another color, but obviously with birds in play, they are splashing for something. Could easily be against the rock. Alright, so Seal of Cleansing not doing anything for us right now. We either play Mystic Crusader or we go Exalted Angel Morph. I think it's just too powerful. Exalted Angel's too powerful, right? So even though we don't have the 4th land guaranteed, We're going to get it down and make them deal with all that we're up to. Deathblade Elite provoking the Wall of Blossoms, letting us get another point of damage across. Really nice. Opponent up to 4 lands. Ravenous Baloth looks a lot like the rock to me. Come on, land. We did it. Oh, yeah. All right. Time to flip. So now the opponent is really, really, really in trouble against this Exalted Angel. We're invalidating a lot of what they're doing. They do have black, so Rock confirmed they'll duress away Curse Scroll or Swords to Plowshares. Probably not Seal of Cleansing. Yeah, they take the plow. We're just going to take the hit from Baloth. Eventually we'll be able to block for free with Deathblade Elite. Exalted Angel does win most races in Premodern handily. That is where we're at now. So land number 5. They could definitely be sitting on another duress. They could definitely draw a Pernicious Deed now. I think we just have to play 2 spells, and it probably should just be a creature, the creature, rather, and Curse Scroll. We do leave ourselves a little bit soft with Seal of Cleansing, Rotting in Hand again to the duress, and to a Deed off of the top. Okay, they had a Naturalize in hand. So whichever one of the 2 we chose to play there would have just gotten naturalized, I'm sure, on the end step. But again, the Deed leaves them pretty cold to Exalted Angel. And playing the creature is just the most proactive thing we can do here. If their best play is to attack with Treetop Village, that is pretty good for us. We can consider double blocking here, but I just don't think I care. I'm just going to take it. Birds of Paradise. That can get provoked for an easy kill. Cabal Therapy to get our Seal of Cleansing. Sure. Opponent's hellbent. Enlightened Tutor off the top. Pretty good. So if we provoke, we swing all out, the opponent is dead on board next turn. I guess that is the move. Illegal blocking. 5-yard penalty. Alright. Opponent, as mentioned, dead to just simply the Exalted Angel, much less the rest of our wide board. Now, they can, of course, sack Ravenous Baloth, but that's a losing line. We've also got Enlightened Tutor to find something fun on the end step here. Another Baloth. Alright, the game goes on. Let's let them make their attacks before we decide what to get. They will probably swing out with the Baloth. No? Okay. What do we want here? What do we want from the main deck? I mean, just getting Worship it'd probably be kind of hard to lose, but nah. Let's do something a little more proactive, either Scroll or Furnace. I really don't know that it matters, but it's probably pretty hard to lose with a Curse Scroll. Furnace for a redraw would be good too. So opponent has to sack a Baloth here to stay alive, which is kind of why I thought they'd swing with one last turn, but again, kind of deterministic here as far as I can tell. Wall of Blossoms, sure. Into a land, okay. Alright. Against the Rock. Furnaces are fine, good grindy card. Mystic Crusader's okay. This could be an Armageddon matchup. I like Soltari Visionary. They might have Engineered Plague, Pernicious Deed, Sylvan Library, etc., and it's just a good evasive attacker. I think this is the type of matchup where we're going to cut, like, Silver Knights, because a lot of their creatures block it well or outsize it, and keep leaning on our shadow threats. So let's bring in... I mean, Reprisal's okay, Spiritmonger, if they play that, and the Baloths can... But, I don't know. I don't know if we want it. Deathblade Elite performed really well there. So maybe, like, on the draw, I get rid of a couple Savannah Lions. I actually think I might get rid of an Enlightened Tutor. I don't want card disadvantage so much here. Play a couple Armageddons. I think I like Seal of... Well, how many disenchant effects do we need? I'll play one Reprisal. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of different arguments. This may be dumb. I'm going to cut the Enlightened Tutor package altogether. I'm going to remain... Actually, I don't think we should play Worship against this deck, so scratch that. We'll get a Seal of Cleansing back in, call it good. Actually, let me play both Reprisals on the draw. Definitely, I almost said tilting. I'm not tilting. I am tanking. I'm tanking around the edges a little bit here. Lots of arguments for this in, that out. It's all much of a muchness. Opponent will take the draw. I did not see that one coming. Well, I'm keeping. Well, never mind. They take the play, but the the game log says chooses not to... Never mind. The opponent, it says not Sonic, chooses to play first, and I saw the word not, and I got a little confused. Alright, so Deathblade Elite is once again more than a match for their Birds of Paradise. We are on the draw this time, so if they've got... or actually, weren't we on the draw last time? We were. Nevertheless, if they have removal, they're kind of priced, I think, into using it here. No, they've just got another bird, so the Deathblade Elite is about to do a little hunting, shall we say. You'll love to see that one. Illegal blocking. Come on and fight me. So funny. I bet that everybody you play with this card is going to try to not block, to not make the suicidal block. Alright, Soltari Monk is a fine enough draw for turn. It lets us just keep curving out efficiently, keep the pressure going. We are obviously trying to roll up an Armageddon here. We need a fourth land for that. we need to make sure we're ahead on board for that. But right now, it's looking like a nice Armageddon matchup. Opponent's going to execute. Destroy target white creature, it can't be regenerated, draw a card. That is a rough one. I like Soul Rend a little bit better, but I do play Soul Rend as a one-of, and yeah, either one is absolutely brutal here. So we've drawn another Deathblade Elite. We've got a lot of options here. We can go double spell with Elite and Savannah Lions, we can get a Soltari Visionary down, or we can get a Morphed Exalted Angel down. I actually think we're supposed to play another Deathblade Elite here because it's just that good against Birds of Paradise, so let's do it. And this is going to leave them really cold to the Armageddon if we draw a 4th land next turn. And the downside of that, though, is that we've played out our 1-drops, and then we're going to Armageddon. So, on the other hand, it would be nice to have 1-drops to follow up and rebuild, or to further build off of the Armageddon, but the idea would be that that's just lights out. Speaking of lights out, opponent found a Pernicious Deed. It is only a 3 for 2 because they kill their own birds, but yeah, that's pretty good. Alright. So now, even if we draw a land, we're not going to Armageddon with an empty board, I don't think. And we do draw a land. So, let us play the 4th land. I think we have to go for Exalted Angel here. I rate its odds of survival as below 50%. And that is perhaps understating the case, but I do think we have to go for it. They're playing out another Treetop Village and another Pernicious... Oh, Pernicious Deed will answer it, yep. And they wisely do it before we untap. Alright, we've got a Plow. So I'm going to hold off on the Armageddon for 1 turn. Because we have that Plow, we are a little... We don't want them to draw a discard now. But if they spend their turn, like, making a creature, we can Plow it, untap Armageddon, and try to win off Soltari Visionary, so hopefully they just play another land out, and then play some big goon, like Spiritmonger or Baloth or whatever. Not that we want them to gain that life, but it would be a very good outcome for us altogether. If they just, like, okay, one ape attack, yeah, not gonna Plow. Reanimate. Reanimating our Exalted Angel. Wow, the value Reanimate is pretty good. Alright, well, we've got to Plow that. That's pretty rough, but hey, it happens. Phyrexian Furnace, eh? Yeah, they didn't make a land drop last turn. With double Treetop Village, I don't anticipate them holding a land in hand against our deck, so I am going to go for the Armageddon right now. Well, I guess I better attack first. This is a little bit risky. We definitely can justify playing Furnace instead, but I want to snap off this Armageddon while it's really good, again, before they draw a discard especially. And they've got a lot of work to do, probably, to recover from this, especially because the first land we draw, our spell in hand is live, and it in turn can help us draw more spells. You love to see Soltari Visionary, the lonely boy on an empty board. Amazing, amazing. We're both missing land drops, obviously. We'll take that. We'll take that all day, right? This is quite something. Oh, uh-oh. They found a forest. Still no play. We need to find a plains. We need to find a plains. But, again, this is a shadow threat, right? So they're down to 6. Uh-oh, they found a swamp. So any kill spells live, they gotta smother. Alright, the game goes on. Give us a plains. Let us rebuild. Nope. Alright. Definitely unlucky to miss 5 land drops in a row, and now they get to take our Phyrexian Furnace, probably. They could hit Seal of Cleansing as well, but it's gotta just be Furnace. Alright. Well, the plains does arrive. Deathblade Elite hits the field. Opponent with a Call of the Herd. That's a good one. That's a very good one. So, this has become quite a different game. It's been a game of 3 phases, and they're getting in with the elephant. Unfortunately, that probably means they're going to get to go land, make another elephant, and we're going to be very behind. Chainer's Edict, okay. Yeah. No thank you. I will not provoke the elephant token. Yeah, so we're definitely on the wrong side of variance on the other side of the Armageddon. They do probably play more lands than us, but not by that much, right? They probably play like 23 or 24, and we play 22. So again, I think the Armageddon there was definitely correct, but they're recovering really well from it. Wall of Blossoms is a beating here, too. Now they have the 4th land, so the second elephant will be joining us soon. And we just can't draw a land to save our lives. Okay, well, this will happen. Again, the Shadow Threat would have ended the game long ago if they hadn't also had a kill spell. Not that we are surprised that the Rock has a kill spell, naturally, but we did make them have quite a bit here to recover in time from the Armageddon. Alright, well, we can extend the game with a plow, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get there here. Get there here? It's a little bit of an awkward phrasing, isn't it? Okay. So, obviously lands are going to be necessary to do much of anything. Well, there's a furnace, okay. I think we have to take a chump this turn before they find a kill spell. Alright. Another Call of the Herd. Alright, GG. Let's take our draw step, but yeah, another uncastable. Desperately unlucky, all things considered, after all that sequencing. So yeah, do we see anything else? I don't think this is a Tormod's Crypt matchup. On the play, we might want to get a little more aggressive with a couple Savannah Lions, but then again, they don't line up all that well. I think the 3rd Armageddon will come in, even though it's, I guess, technically a little better on the draw. Like, we just saw how good it should have been there. Yeah, I like everything else that we're up to. I'm probably just going to cut the Disenchant. They haven't showed us E-Plague, Sylvan Library. It's not that they don't have them, but in Pernicious Deed, it is hard to answer that without them getting a lot of value out of it. This is a pretty reactive hand, but I think we're supposed to keep it. They will mulligan. We can't realistically, like, mulligan for an aggressive hand anyway. It's not how we sideboarded, and it wouldn't really work in this matchup regardless. So we're just going to, we're probably going to try to ride the Curse Scroll and the Soltari Priest, potentially exclusively, and, you know, because we don't want to go too wide into a Pernicious Deed. It's not like we really have that capability anyway. Treetop Village, sure. Yeah, I don't think I'm playing out the Seal of Cleansing until they show us something. We're going to try to, for a 25% hit on the Curse Scroll if they don't present like a plow or reprisal target, which is kind of unlikely on turn 3 that they play something like that we want to plow. But if they fire up the Treetop Village, I might plow that. Alright, I'm just going to name planes here. It probably... Okay, so they know about our Seal of Cleansing. That probably leads them to believe that we have more lands in hand than we actually do. Like a second one, at least. I don't know if we play out that Phyrexian Furnace or not. That would feel so bad into a deed without the ability to hit anything. Yeah, for one more turn, we just say go. I mean, we kind of time-walked them that turn. They didn't do anything. They don't know about our removal. Our creature removal, that is. So, yeah, I think doing nothing on their end was good for us, and I think us doing nothing is fine. Alright, Ravenous Baloth. So we're going to fire off our reprisal here. I still think that's better than using Plow, even though Plow would allow us to have a Curse Scroll activation. So they reset to 20 life. What are you going to do? They have not showed us a black land yet. Playing out the Soltari Monk runs face first, though, into Black Land, into Pernicious Deed, and also it runs face first into Engineered Plague. So I think I'm just going to play Phyrexian Furnace here and say go. We are, I think, supposed to take it a little slower with our hand. But then again, we're not maximally exploiting their potential stumble without the black land. But they show us Swamp, they show us the Deed. So we were definitely correct. So the Furnace here will replace itself, so we're only getting 2 for 1. Not that bad. Okay, so now... now do we just Armageddon? Possibly. So they know about our Seal of Cleansing. I think what we actually do here is play Soltari Monk Seal of Cleansing, hope they don't have another Deed, hope they don't have a Duress, and then hope they just play another land out into the Armageddon. It would probably be too bad to Armageddon with these 2 drops in hand and only 1 land rolled up for our own. Treetop Village attack, I don't mind that. Hopefully they just swing, play another Treetop, and say go. Okay, they don't play another Treetop. We'll attack first, test them for removal. They have it. Yeah, that's rough. That makes our Armageddon less exciting, but we do get to go Deathblade Elite off of it, and we have Plow back up. I think we're supposed to. I think we're supposed to. They're probably playing around it to some degree. But we just don't have enough power left to not do this. And again, the prospect of losing that to a discard spell is, like, unbearably bad. Okay. Let's see if Armageddon will get us there this time. At least we've gotten to Armageddon twice in this match. It's definitely pretty cool. We've obviously got the answer to their birds if they would try to rebuild with such a thing. Unfortunately, we start off by drawing a very high curve thing right after our Armageddon. Exalted Angels get in the matchup, obviously, but not like that. Opponent drawn out of the Armageddon better than we are. We miss another land drop. Man! Man, oh man. I think this Armageddon was still, despite my case for it, I think it was less clearly good than the one in Game 2. But again, Yelder. Alright, that's an incredible card to rebuild from Armageddon with, holy moly. And of course they have the 3 lands rolled up to cast. The good news is we get to plow them before that happens, right? Definitely better than the provoke attack. And we've got Soltari Monk finally able to come down because we hit the second land. That's good. Once again, we kind of live a little bit in fear of Pernicious Deed, but they do need to get up to 5 lands to make it like a really good deed. We're somewhat diversified against Engineered Plague, although that would still be a bit rough. They're going to execute the Deathblade Elite. Yeah, that cantripping removal definitely feels bad. Let's get that 3rd land. We get it. Alright. Exalted Angel, morphed. Wasteland is nice to have around as well. We've got the Shadow Pressure, so this time, we have rebuilt successfully from our own Armageddon. Opponent, though, with 5 cards in hand. Definitely scary out of the wonderful BG Rock. Alright, we hit the 4th land. We've got to go for it. We're expecting removal, but you never know. But you never, ever know. Please no execute number 2. They don't have it. Oh, they have Naturalize? Okay. Cool. Alright, White Weenie. We've got some problems we're presenting to them right now, especially because they're operating off Llanowar Waste, so they're actually pretty dead on, well, I guess not dead on board, because Birds is a good chump blocker. Our Deathblade Elite, the Bird Hunter, shows up just a turn too late. But we're still obviously in a great spot. Okay, they don't block with the bird, huh? I don't know what that means. I don't know if they have some kind of a sweeper effect or whatever. So I think I should hold the Deathblade Elite, and I think I might want to Wasteland off of a Llanowar Wastes as well. As bad as that land is right now. So this could be wrong, but I'm going to Wasteland, and I'm going to hold the Elite, and we're going to see what they can put together with 1 fewer land at their disposal, and nothing. Alright, keeping a balanced enough 7 on the draw to make me think there's no way we throw it back in the blind. Opponent on the play will go Coastal Tower. Send it back. Savannah Lions, go scout it out for us, see what's up. We are probably against Replenish or Blue-White Control, of course. I don't know how our matchup would be. Peace of Mind. Discard a card, you gain 3 life. That seems like it combos well with Replenish. I wonder if we're supposed to hit that with the Seal of Cleansing we just drew. I wonder also if we're supposed to Wasteland them and play Deftblade Elite instead. Yeah, I'm just not experienced enough in this matchup to really know what's up, so I'm gonna go on the Wasteland plan. Not sure how strong this will prove in the long run. Obviously, we have the Exalted Angel that might make that kind of bad if we don't hit our lands going forward, but if we're not hitting our lands, then we're hitting a wide variety of castable spells, and the opponent does not have a land drop of their own. So, we have officially been rewarded, at least in the short term. And I think we're supposed to just try to take as much advantage of that as possible and play out our stuff aggressively. Again, not going to do the Seal of Cleansing thing quite yet. They're definitely spinning their wheels if they have to discard off of a Darker Wastes. It's just less value than they would otherwise be getting off Peace of Mind. Oh, but there's a Squealoop. Alright, well, I think we gotta hit the Peace of Mind now that we know about a Squealoop. That's a little too good for my preference, right? It's a little too strong. Still no land. You'll love to see that one. And a third land in hand is nice as well, for us. Alright, they're going to plow a knight. So I believe that changes our incentive enough to the point where we're going to resolve an Exalted Angel. Alright, they find another land, it's Coastal Tower. We don't find the land to flip it. So we're going to go Seal of Cleansing, Savannah Lions, I guess. If the opponent keeps drawing lands and then does some other things, we could regret the Seal of Cleansing play on Peace of Mind, but well, it's either that or maybe we just play out more guys. Maybe we just play out Soltari Priest and Savannah Lions and make them beat what I think, well, it would be lethal without Peace of Mind, so they go to 10 here, and then we put them to 9. But then if we flip Angel, they're dead on board. Alright, third land. Alright, we're flipping Angel. Is that enough? Does the dummy aggro get there? With no interaction besides a Wasteland? They have another plow. Or, oh, they can... I didn't do the math with them gaining life off of the clean mana. Or just gaining life in general for not the squee. Yeah, I didn't even think that one through clearly. Clearly, I didn't think that clearly. But opponent is on Forbid. They're on some spice over there. And... okay, I was a little worried about Wrath of God, but they've got an ETB tapped land. Now they're going to have their work cut out for them to stay alive this turn. But we'll attack, we'll see what they've got. And then we'll decide whether to go Seal of Cleansing, Worship, or Exalted Angel number 2, if we have a second main phase. The Phyrexian Furnaces, and indeed the Tormod's Crypts, are calling our name in a big way here. Alright, well, they just showed us a counterspell, and then we win on damage anyway. The dummy aggro is OP, so let's get that Graveyard Hate in. Again, I'm expecting Replenish, but we'll still try to compete over their enchantments as much as we can. Soltari Visionary is great. This looks like an Armageddon matchup too, so I'm just going to go Hog Wild deciding, and we'll hope it's not wrong. I'm going to cut Deftblade Elite. I'm going to cut 1 Curse Scroll. It just seems a little irrelevant, but like 1 is fine as a mana sink. We're going to cut all the Plows, and we're going to cut maybe a single Paladin on Vec, and we are leaving ourselves soft to things that we haven't seen. Again, they could play like Exalted Angel out of the side or whatever, but let's just kind of, again, go a little Hog Wild based on what we've seen. So I'm quite inexperienced against the Replenish matchup, but even so, I don't think that this is that. I don't think this is a variant of that. This has got to be something else altogether that may play the card Replenish, but I guess this is good enough to keep, right? I think Wasteland is impactful. I think turn 1 Savannah Lions is good. I think Serenity's a nice I win button, potentially, against some progressions. Alright, they go Coastal Tower past. We draw a second Wasteland. I'm actually just going to Wasteland T1. And Soltari Visionary should be a nice one. A really nice one in this matchup, actually. And we've drawn Soltari Monk as well, so now we get to just kind of curve out, hopefully chunk them along the way to really oppressing their game plan with Visionary. And then we have Serenity in the back pocket. The only thing that plays badly into is Wrath of God, as far as I can see. But we've drawn another threat in the form of Silver Knight. So I think we are just going off here. Alright, plowing the Lions. I think that's a good outcome. Go Silver Knight. A micro splash for red to me is a lot likelier than one for black, which is why I played that. But then again, Shadow may be relevant in case they've got some weird blocking tech. Alright, Disenchant. Will they plow the Silver Knight? I think they've got another plow. They will. Okay. Fine. Fine, you win. You win, you win, you win. So, we'll just go Soltari Visionary here, conceal the Wasteland. Alright, Enlightened Tutor I think is a really good find here. They also didn't make a 4th land drop, so the Wasteland is going to be sweet. You know what I should have done, though? I should have Wastelanded main phase, then moved to attacks, and then resolved the Soltari Monk in the second main phase after they float. But that's okay, because, like, I don't think we mind that much if the Soltari Monk gets countered, and as I was going to say, they probably don't even float, because that is painful to do so. Now, I don't know what other forms of permission they play, so I'm not even clear that we're supposed to Enlighten Tutor on the unstep, but I think I will. Just going to get a Furnace. Hard to go wrong against Eternal Dragon and Squee and other graveyard shenanigans with that find. Now, under these current circumstances, we are going to avoid cracking the Furnace as long as possible. Because we know they've got Eternal Dragon, we know they've got Squee. We definitely read them for even more graveyard value and dependency than that. And we have the pressure, so we don't need to actively draw. Opponent stuck on 2 lands, man. Oh man, White Weenie is like... It's actually really good. It's actually just really good. Plowing the Visionary, got it. I think I'm just going to tutor for another Furnace. Compulsion. Discard a card, draw a card, sacrifice this enchantment, draw a card. A lot going on there. A lot going on there, huh? Okay. I think I'm just going to disenchant that for value. Cast another Enlightened Tutor, get another Furnace. Have my draws rolled up. Really attack their graveyard. And keep clocking them for 2 per turn. Down from 4. Down from a height of 4 per turn. It is now 2 per turn. Opponent's still got 5 cards in hand, though. Whenever a player discards a card, you may pay white. If you do, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Nice one. Nice one. Alright. So I'm going to cash in 1 Furnace. We draw Plains. Alright, let's untap. We might be priced into the Serenity, but we're going to untap and see. Exalted Angel? Seems good. Alright, Exalted Angel allows us to play a slower game. And for them to play out into the Serenity a little bit more as well. We have a guaranteed flip on deck. We've got the sacrifice activated ability of the Furnace open. We've got Serenity in the back pocket. So opponent might be able to go off a little bit this turn with a Spirit Cairn plus other discard effects. Wrath of God. Ooh, that is a bad one. That's a very bad one for us, but okay. Yep. And right on cue, we rip a thread off the top. And it's Shadow, so I think we're just kind of like gonna force them to beat this as well. And or play more out into the Serenity. Then we cash in our Furnace, we 2-for-1 them, etc. We do not love a Plains off the top. I am going to hold that. Just concealing information more than anything else. But we did we did bring in our Armageddon, so we kind of want to stay stuck here at 4 lands in case we rip that off the top. We want as many lands as possible with which to rebuild. Yeah, I still think I don't care enough about the Serenity to do much of anything here. Fact or fiction? Yeah, that's a good one. Alright, Thawing Glaciers, huh? Rain of Blades? Rain of Blades and Wrath of God both answer our Soltari Priest. Miscalculation as well. Wow. I think I'm going to give them both removal options and then the other 3 things. That's a good fact or fiction for them. Alright, they take both removal options, so their hand includes Wrath of God and Rain of Blades. Peace of mind. Alright, we're getting close to playing Serenity. We probably have to now to stop this engine that they're assembling. And if we do it next turn, they don't... Yeah. Yeah, so why don't we... I guess we're cashing in our Furnace now. Part of me wants to see our draw step first, but... with our incentive to hold lands in hand for Armageddon, I'm going to take the draw now. Interesting spot. And we find the 3rd Furnace. Okay, seems good. And we find Armageddon. Okay, seems good. Oh, boy. All right, well, we've got a lot of options now. Let's begin by attacking. See if they use that Rain of Blades, or if they're going to do the value, Spirit Cairn, Peace of Mind thing. Okay, they're discarding Squee, so they've got it all. They've got the whole engine assembled. 3 life has been gained. They did not create a spirit token, so they are representing permission. So why don't we take it a little easy on the Armageddon, because I think that's the real I win button. We're going to lead on Serenity. And if it resolves, I think that's awesome. And if it doesn't, well, we've drawn out permission. We get to follow up with Furnace. Eat the Squee. Alright. I guess we're just riding the Serenity train for a little while here. They've got double Squee. Okay. So they're going to extract a ton of value out of all this stuff before our Serenity goes off. It's a powerful card, but it's a really awkward one. I was a bit surprised to see it in this list, especially because we ourselves play so many enchantments and artifacts. And part of me was thinking, I don't believe I said this in the deck tech, but part of me was thinking that maybe we should just kind of only play this card against Enchantress or something like that, or Mud. But I think this matchup definitely warrants it. But you see how it can be a bit awkward here. Apologies, the kiddos are asking me questions as well, so I think I muted in time. Sometimes when I edit these videos, it's because the kids are in need of my expertise on something, which obviously priority number 1, right? Okay, I kind of lost the thread of where we were, but opponent went Eternal Dragon. Now we wipe their Spirit Cairn and Peace of Mind. And yeah, they're going to get just a little more value before we do. And then we're just going to Armageddon and hope it's good enough. Should be, like, incredibly good overall. Armageddon. Woo, let's go. Any order is fine. Planes, 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 planes. Put them in any order you want. You absolutely love that one. And we even get to follow up with Furnace number 3. And we are just ahead on the clock. So opponent with a full grip, but 2 of them are squeeze. Spirit tokens are not attacking, I'm not sure why. Exalted Angel in hand was the draw for turn. We'll see whether that ends up mattering. It probably will, because they at least can have like a plow or something to get there. Or to not just lose to the priest. Yeah, here comes the attack. I guess they just kind of missed it last turn. I don't think we're supposed to fire up the furnace just yet, although we have a lot of incentives to. Yeah, opponent says, oops. Okay. Missed attack it is. And it definitely happens. I've definitely done it before myself. Rain of Blades. Hey, you know, I forgot about that card. They do still have that card. Okay. Not that we would have done anything differently. And that missed attack is not going to matter at all. Not the axis on which this game will be decided. Alright. Because the opponent attacked, it's interesting. Now, against another Peace of Mind, we just have to keep the furnace around for squeeze, right? We really obviously want to draw more lands to get this Exalted Angel going, but for now, we just, you know, another Savannah Lines is alright. Alright, now the spirits are hanging back, which I think is probably correct. I guess against Rain of Blades, maybe attacking with, because they could obviously have another one, maybe attacking with 1 lion is the move. Alright. I don't think I'm supposed to leave this furnace untapped. Or, go shields down on my activated ability, that is. So we get rid of 1 squee, which is pretty good. We are out of furnaces, though. And I suppose the opponent, they still have the other squee in hand. So they have the engine online, but we've drawn Tormod's Crypt. That's a good one. It's a good one in that spot. And we're actually going to lead on it. That way any shenanigans are forced out early. If they want to compete over this with counter magic, which they do, then we get to resolve Exalted Angel. Opponent's deck is Mega Spice. And we are losing on the clock by a little bit, so I am mindful of that. I think we should be fine, but I am going to start to rush just a wee bit, but the Peace of Mind Squee Loop is brutal. it's so good. It's so good. Specifically against our deck, it's incredible. So we need the Angel to live. We need to rip a 4th land. Wrath of God. Right. Okay. Well, we're in trouble. I know that they have a Wrath of God in Exile, and honestly, I couldn't remember whether they used that one or not, because we gave them Wrath of God and Rain of Blades. Alright, we'll take a Seal of Cleansing here. That's finally a stop to the Peace of Mind loop. And that means our 2/2s can realistically win the game. And we're just going to go for it. We gotta see if it resolves. They'll do the squee thing in response. Alright, let's hit it. Opponent with another Factor Fiction, main phasing this one. Oh boy. I think we just probably put the 2 Spirit Cairns on their own. Big yikes. So they've got Thawing Glaciers, they've got Forbid, and they've got that weird one, Compulsion. Two-mana enchantment is Compulsion. It's a discard engine. It's a draw engine. It can be sacked to draw. Yeah, I'll need to look up the opponent's list after the fact just to properly title it, if nothing else. I don't know if this is a unique brew or if this is a more known quantity. It's definitely can be conceived of as a variant of blue-white control, but it's just so unique. You almost want to call it blue-white enchantress, you know? Yeah, I love it. But White Weenie is showing that it can win quick games, it can hate out opponents really efficiently, it can play low along the curve and close it out quickly, and it can grind too. We are definitely grinding here. Another Wrath of God. Oh, rough. That is a rough one. They're, this is all, mind you, after an Armageddon. Now, at this point, our best win condition might be decking them. I don't think that's really quite still all that realistic, but it is live. My opponent's going to thin the deck yet further with the Thawing Glaciers. It's a really nice one of. I've seen that card before and thought that perhaps it deserves to see a bit more play than it does. I know how clunky it is, but as a little bit of a value engine, it's definitely solid. Opponent with that full grip, and we are, if nothing else, catching up on the clock right now. Thank you always for watching. During this little bit of downtime, I'll remind you that liking and commenting is huge, as I'm coming back onto YouTube to get as well positioned in the algorithm as I can. Unfortunately, we're just ripping lands in the last few turns, not very good. Opponent's got their Compulsion online, which we knew about. Alright, opponent says island go, and we draw, I don't know, the 4th plains of the last 5 turns or something crazy like that. But, I mean, at least exactly as things stand, I mean, the opponent's going to see so many cards with compulsion plus squee. But right now they can't stop the Silver Knight, apparently, or maybe they're unwilling to use maybe like their 4th Wrath of God to do so. And again, decking is now a real distinct possibility. Of course, I just have no way of knowing how many win conditions they might have. They don't appear to be able to hard cast squee, so we don't need to worry about that. Oh man, fascinating stuff. Opponent going into turn 26 with 10 cards in the library and 11 cards in their hand. They're going to main phase a Plow. Got it. So we've already won through 1 Eternal Dragon, 2 Eternal Dragon, and how many? 2 Spirit Cairn, 3 Spirit Cairn, okay. So odds are good that they have a 3rd, maybe 4th dragon, a 3rd, and a 4th Cairn as well. A 2nd compulsion doesn't particularly worry me. And they're cleaning up, pitching squee, and we see the 1,000,000th land. Okay. Some nice symmetry, you know, we've got a really balanced hand-to-board ratio here. 4 plains on the board, 4 plains in hand. We're just going to watch the opponent deck themselves, and it's going to be great. I mean, we're at 24 life. They've got a kind of a tall order to get there from everything we've seen. Like, if they just play an Eternal Dragon, maybe that does it. We have sided out, of course, all of our plows, which I think is probably still correct, but maybe if there is a game 3 we leave in a miserly one of, who knows? They're cycling. 5 cards in library. Laboratory Maniac is not legal in this format, is he? Some way to win when you go to 0 in the library. Dude, all the lands. All the lands. This is going to be so funny if we draw like a zillion planes and just win. Okay. I mean, they've got only 4 turns left. Are they passing through this one? Yep. 4 turns left after this one. Soltari Monk. I do not expect Soltari Monk to resolve, or to live if it does, but we'll cast it. But we'll cast it, why not, right? Counterspell? Forbid. Pitching miscalculations, right. Yeah, so, I mean, they just clearly have one. I think they must have exactly 1 more win condition in the deck to which they have been digging, and it's just in the last few cards, and we rip Armageddon? Well, it's gonna get, what's it called? It's gonna get countered, but sure. That would be so funny, though. But yep, they're gonna counter it, and they may not be able to buy it back. That's the only upside here. Oh, they have, yeah, they're 2 squeeze, obviously. Okay. Well, whatever. Like, they have us pretty locked, but they can't win, I think, with us at 24 life. Another compulsion. Yep. Mystic Crusader. There it is. There's the other copy of Spirit Cairn, the 4th copy. Certainly it is too little too late here. We just do nothing, so we don't give them more of a free discard outlet than they would otherwise have, I guess. Because their compulsions compel them, if you will, to draw a card. And so now they get to go out on their own terms, right? Make a spirit token before they do. An absolutely beautiful sight. You love to see it. Really cool deck from the opponent. If they found that Cairn a little bit earlier against our Flood, they would have gotten us. Good games well played. Wow, guys, that was an incredible display from White Weenie. What a well-constructed list this is. Shout out to the list creator. I will link that in the description below. And, man, I mean, what more do you want from a mono-white aggro deck? This did it all. Because it's not purely mono-white aggro, is it? It's a little bit hate bear, it's a little bit mid-range, it's got the Armageddon angle, it just does a whole lot. It's even got the Enlightened Tutor. Little mini package, it's like just right, it's just right. So when I was looking at White Weenie lists, this first one looked like it was a little bit too far off the beaten path for me. Like, I almost wanted to start off with something a little less mid-rangey, a little less multi-dimensional, ironically, just because I wanted, like, the full White Weenie experience. But the more I looked at other lists, the more I kept circling back to this one and saying, this one's got the raw power. This one's got the raw power in the variety of angles. I think this is the way. And we really showed that it can get there. A lot of the time today, we kind of just cleaned house, and we did it mostly by keeping 7s that were just kind of like, whatever, this has got lands and spells, it's relatively balanced, let's see how we can do. Now, I do think we ran a little on the hot side, you know, variance was more in our favor probably than average, but still, absolutely hats off to the builder of this list, and thank you so much for checking it out. If you would make any modifications, any hot tips, secret tech, you know, good suggestions, leave them in the comments below as always. I, of course, would just be inclined to run it back exactly as is, because it did so very well for us. But you let me know what you think, and make sure you stay subscribed. Stay tuned for more content just like this to follow. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.